All right, cool. We're live, and we're playing Symbaroum, but we're mostly using it for its mechanics. We are actually playing a game that's comes from the depths of my mind and folklore tales I've been told as a kid, and also the tales and pictures of Brian Froud that I used to love when I was taking mushrooms in Amsterdam, in Groningen, more or less. Yeah. So, anyways. You read my blah blah blah, but just want to recap it real quick. Think of the world as the world seen and the world unseen, like the material world, and then the magical world, which is like interweaved together with it. And this is where magic comes from, and this is where all the fairy creatures and all other, nightmarish things come from. It's a great thing that you are playing Ambrians. Ambrians in my game would translate into like civilized folk, like mostly town folk, people of nobility maybe, or just people who at least have some literacy and are not like pagans from rural areas. And one of you is a magician. Great. So it's not like dead set. Like, for example, in my world, there could be like traveling magicians who are self-taught, and they can be magicians who are come from some academies. So totally up to you, Tom, what kind of a magician you want to role play tonight. But magic, since it comes from that place, it kind of, well, some say it corrupts, others say it's like gives you this phase signs, and in some places this is actually revered as you being some awesome person who can speak to spirits and perform miracles and whatnot. But this is very rare in most places. When they see you doing that kind of shit, they don't know why. It's mostly like ingrained into their minds from the previous generations who told them this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. You know how it happens, like a few generations in the future, you don't know why something is bad, but you're saying it's bad, and just light your torches and grab your pitchforks and go burn the witches. But for the rest of it, you can just basically translate Symbaroum onto this kind of weird word. It's very simple and very easy to do. So you are a band of travelers who have been together for a long time. This means you know each other quite well. You have experienced a lot of things together. So along the way, you have definitely experienced things that others haven't. Like the general populace doesn't really believe in those witches and those nightmarish things and the fae. Most of them believe that this is just what grandmas talk, and when they go crazy and smoke their pipes on the village square. So they believe that those things exist. But still, like when they notice something like that, something in their mind will just kick in, and they'll start hunting you in most places, especially in civilized towns and whatnot. But along the way, you have fought some monsters, you have met some fae. So you are you are now heroes, like the types of adventurers who know that this shit is probably true. All those things that they used to tell you. So you are at least prepared for when shit goes down. And just mechanically to translate that you are prepared and you know what you're doing. I know this is a one shot, and usually some of us don't really like that out of character banter, but for tonight, I'm going to try that initiative so that you, if you have played Star Wars games, you will be familiar. You get initiative slots for your group, and it's up to you to decide who goes first and who goes next. So this is kind of metagamey, out of character thingy, but it makes you more tactical. Like it really gives out the feeling that you are a team who knows how to face dangers and overcome them. And I especially like that because my my encounters and my other combats and stuff would be harder than they would have been if you were just like some chaotic people who are only going for themselves and not acting as a team. All right, you have traveled for a long time. You have passed the last town-like settlements. What makes town different than a village? That is that because you usually have some trading center, and there is a usually common route that connects them to other settlements, and that's how they exchange news and all kind of trade goods and all that kind of shit. But it's been really days since the last trading caravan you saw, and the route you are taking now is not really well traveled. From the last town you were in that there is a village right at the edge of the big forest, and for certain from a map that you found in your previous travels and all the people you get information from, that what you're looking for is inside that forest somewhere. So very logically, you want to go to the final to the last settlement where you can restock your provisions and go into the forest itself. But it's been a while. The road has been rough, and the weather is what you would experience in moderate temperate climates in the beginning of January. It will be, well, cold for most of the time. And sometimes you have that very disgusting sleet, I think it's called. Yeah, half rain, frozen rain that really, it's worse than snow. So probably he's tiring out your donkeys, mules, horses, wherever you might be riding, or you may be on foot, and that's even worse. So yeah, you'll be quite tired before you will finally at dusk know that you're approaching something. But before we get to that scene, if you want to tell something about your own characters, now is the time. And from my left to right, that's Ambika first.
All right. So I'm playing Arno, an Ambrian mercenary with a bit of a shady past, although he actually has some noble blood as well. But he came from a family that was basically mired in debt, and as a result, aside from his little bit of inheritance that his father left him, he's had to make his living by basically working as a hired sword. But he also engages in somewhat more dishonest pursuits as well. He's a little bit of a con man, actually quite a bit of a con man. The only problem is he's also quite prone to falling for cons himself. So he'd probably be a better con man if he wasn't so gullible himself. And he's sort of tall, long blonde hair and a short beard. It's a bit of suspension of disbelief is required here. But, and usually carries a fencing sword and a parrying dagger, and has sort of a quickness to his steps and a friendly smile. But there's also a little bit of a tiredness in his eyes as well.
And can you also remind me, you had some burdens, like role-playing burdens you should be aware of?
I do, indeed. So Arno is, I'm not really certain what would be the appropriate drug in your setting or whatever, but whatever it is, he's addicted to it. And
could be any mushrooms, roots, dried leaves, whatever you want.
I imagine he's probably addicted to some sort of something that makes him feel numb, essentially, because his other burden is that he's plagued by nightmares. So since then he's killed quite a few people, but somehow the first person he killed still gives him nightmares. There was a stupid, idiotic, pointless fight over his family name, and it still bothers him, and so he has frequent nightmares. In fact, every night he has nightmares, and if he's not able to resist these nightmares, he has quite a hard time, healing himself naturally, and you notice him with dark circles under his eyes the next day. So,
yeah. Awesome. Just to let you know, guys, that in this world, every time you notice something strange about a person, it's usually not a good thing, and you start to be a little bit suspicious, because that these things usually, don't lead towards a good end. Even if it's like a natural disability or something, people usually don't like such people. They often end up on the stake along with other witches and stuff. So, Meike, what are you playing tonight?
I'm playing an Ambrian Knight, a she. She's called Ebenera and Dazane, to be correct. And she comes from not a noble house, but I imagine there are other ways to gain a title. So her father was initially training youngsters at a bigger city to become fighters, and on his way he gained a title, and so they're not they're looked upon as the lesser nobles, of course, because they just gained their title and didn't inherit it. So yeah, and she's traveling the countryside. Because why? That's a good question. To
Probably
achieve glory for the house.
Okay. All right. Any like bad habits or burdens I should know about?
None.
Not yet.
Game.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see what I could plague you with then. What about you, Tom?
Was it Tony or me?
You.
Well, I'm Bartolom. I'm a wizard who's been in the books most of his life. I've been studying everything about magic, about the working of the earth with my master, who taught me everything I know. And the plan was to evolve even further, to keep on studying. But unfortunately, the old bugger died and left me out there. And that's when I started going out, adventuring, and came into contact with this bunch. Bartolom is, because of he's always been with his nose in the books. He doesn't know a thing about real life, of course, so he's a bit shy and held back.
Any, character flaws I should know about?
No, those will come to light.
All right. All right, thanks. And Tony?
Walking at the back of the party at this time is a Ambrian mystic. Stands about 5'8", medium build, and he's twirling this quarterstaff that is quite a bit taller than him. And he's moving along, though, even though it's whizzing through the air. He himself is silent. He's a silent one. He doesn't say much as he moves, and he comes from a background of his father was a timber harvester and had a very successful business harvesting some of the timber in the forest in his area. And being a young boy, he enjoyed going out into the forest and befriending some of the animals there. But that cost him one day, as you can tell on his face, the week-long growth of beard partially covers a scar that runs down part of his cheek and up to his forehead. He doesn't speak of the scar, and if someone asks, he just says, "It happened when I was a child." But he continues moving along, thinking to himself, knowing that he hopes that his flaw of sometimes hesitating between protecting one of his party members or protecting a creature of the forest, what decision will he make at that time, and what decision will be the right one? Only the scar will tell.
Nice. Love it.
And that is Scarno.
Perfect. Did you pick up any mechanical burdens, or
not that I know of. No,
Cool.
I don't guess I have any that I know of.
I guess your biggest burden is that you're a self-taught mystic, so that kind of gives you already corruption,
Okay.
right? Cool. All right, so you are threading through this pine forest, and it's really cold and it's really la, 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 la. Fuck. Uncomfortable. Yes, it's really uncomfortable. You are just basically longing for at least a short rest. I'm gonna say short rest. In my mind, that sounded like a D&D thing. No, it's not. I mean, you are really longing for at least 2-3 hours, not being out in the cold, being drying your clothes, and just closing your eyes for a bit without having to stay on the lookout and change like dog watches and stuff during the night. And by the information you've been given, you have to be close to that stupid village in your minds. And then who is like basically your scout? Who will be going at the front and scanning the area ahead?
Vigilant 7, no, not me.
Me neither.
But if no one is vigilant enough, then at least has to be strong enough to take the first blows. So.
Well, I mean, that would be me, but I'm sure someone has more than 7 vigilant.
Yeah, my vigilant is 12, but Scarno wouldn't. He wouldn't be one to take the lead unless y'all forced him to.
Well, all right. Then in that case, Arno is near the front of the group, and he's sort of got this mask of perpetual cheerfulness on his face as he sort of sings a song in his booming voice. But you can see his hands sort of shaking a little. He nervously massages his fingers together, and his eyes keep moving to the little pouch at his side where he keeps his dream snuff, which is his drug of choice. He sort of he's not the most observant, but he's a little bit cavalier about these things. He doesn't really care. He just strides along in the front, singing.
All right, so then you are the first who will notice a faint glow, and as you come a bit closer towards that glow, you realize that this really seems like a huge bonfire. And you can give me a vigilance check of +3.
All right. Oh, hey, I might actually make that. Let's see. Nope. No.
All right. You also hear screams, but you really cannot distinguish them. They are faint, very faint to the eye. Ear.
Well, it looks like there's a crackling fire up ahead. I could certainly stand for a little bit of warmth, but I've heard some commotion up ahead as well. Some loud voices screaming. I'm not sure if it's revelry or despair, but I suppose we'll find out soon enough.
Maybe best not to get ourselves into trouble, right?
The glow doesn't mean trouble yet.
We seem to be quite expert at getting ourselves into trouble. You go take a look.
Well, you go on, Arno.
All right, fine. The rest of you want to stand behind me, then go ahead. I, draw
I'll walk up next to
my
him.
sword, my fencing sword and my paring dagger, and I take a few confident strides forward.
All right. So, how further back would anyone want to stay, or are you all going together?
I go with him.
I would think Scarno would be 10 feet behind him.
In that case, I'm in the middle.
All right. And you try to be as quiet as possible for the whole group?
I suppose, actually, you know what? At this point, I will sort of drop my bluster, and I holding my blades, I sort of drop into a crouch and very slowly, quietly move forward.
All right. You know what? This is how I'm going to get it. You as the leader of this, little attempt to, reconnaissance, I think is the word. You can give me a discreet check, but with the penalty of who's got the worst discreet of you guys?
5.
I have 11.
So we have a 5 there, right?
Oh God.
Yeah, 6.
So discreet -5, please.
Okay. Well, that's still not too bad. Oh, that's a 1.
All right,
So
cool.
that's good.
So this is what happens. You are under the very proficient guidance of Arno, going through the forest. You actually straying away from the actual road so that you're not be. Well, it's a path, not a road, and going from tree to tree, from bush to bush. You're slowly approaching towards the bonfire. The screams are getting louder. The bonfire site is getting closer to you. You can actually, in this cold, you can actually feel a little bit of warmth coming towards your way, even. And just as you're going through the bushes and the trees, you actually manage to start making out a few houses, and you realize that there is a huge bonfire, which is at the village square. Like there, actually, village is a very strong word. There's a few huts scuttled along the trees, and they're forming something like a clearing in the middle, and there's the bonfire over there. Just as you are approaching, you also hear something to the side of you, and Ambika, you would turn around and you'll be first to see them. Those are figures that look quite human-like. They definitely have like the right amount of limbs and heads, but they also have, some of them have horns, and some of them have other weird protrusions coming from them. These are just silhouettes that you're seeing, and they all have like bells all over them, and they make that sound, that unmistakable sound that you cannot really miss it. So yeah, what you see, what you make out in the among the trees are silhouettes, with some of them with horns, some of them with snouts. Most of them have like fur, obviously sticking out, and bells all over them, and they're like moving through the trees, obviously going towards that village. Regarding the screams, you see some figures, once again, with masks, horns, bells, and fur all over them, and they're actually having like lassos, and they're going around through the crowd, and they are lassoing some people and dragging them. What do you do?
Well, I imagine that people with horns is not something that is normal to me, I assume. So I sort of raised my hand towards the others, and then I tried to move a little bit closer, to try to get as close as I can to one of these people that's grabbing people, and I suppose if I can get close enough, then I'll try to stop them. And they seem to be violent, right? I mean, they're grabbing people. And
well, you don't know that for
move
certain, but you can definitely move closer, and as close as you would love, because that awesome one you just rolled. And if you want to make the others wait, is that what's happening? So that you can assess the situation?
Exactly. I want to get a better idea of what's going on.
All right, so basically a bunch of those guys, people, things, they are dancing around the bonfire. There are villagers scattered around them. Like a bonfire in the middle, these guys, and then the rest of the villagers at their edges. They are like shouting, like, and making some very weird noises. The people seem to be scared, and they seem to be like hugging each other and trying to stay away, but they are not actually running away. And from time to time, one of these things will just lasso someone, and they'll grab them and will pull them next to them, and just put them in a pile somewhere among them, and just dance around them, and like scaring them off. From the trees all around you, more of these things, creatures, whatever, are coming slowly, and just joining with the others. That's what's happening.
From what
I've
we
read-
can,
Sorry, go ahead.
from what we can see, does one of these creatures appear to be like a leader? I mean, or is it they all seem to be pretty much the same?
Every one of them is like different. There doesn't appear to be like a particular leader among them. They seem to be dancing in unison. There's not like one guy in the middle who is like giving commands or anything.
Right. And they haven't seen us yet, correct?
Sorry?
They have not seen us yet?
No.
I want to, if I can, to Skarno will step up where the rest of the party is so we can get a better look at them. And what I want to do is to look out at one of them, and my eyes will start hazing over as I want to use my witch sight ability to try to see the dominant shadow of that creature.
Cool. I don't have a book in front of me, but you
It
should.
says vigilant. I'm supposed to roll vigilant. And,
Versus
against discreet.
what? Against
Discreet.
discreet. Oh, that's gonna be a no bonus, no penalty, just a standard check.
All right. Ooh, I rolled right on it. 12 of 12. So
Awesome. You'll see different shades of different nature colors as the aura of these people, but you will obviously see no taint.
and also it says I'm supposed to suffer 1d4 temporary corruption also. So
Yep.
all right. That's a 3.
Cool. I'm sure you will let me know once you reach your threshold, right? If you do, of course.
Yeah, so I already had 2, so that's 5 total, and my threshold's 9.
Cool. Getting there. So yeah, no taint. All nature colors, no taint.
Yeah, when I see that, my eyes will haze back over to normal, and I look to the rest of them, and I just softly go, there seems to be no taint or corruption that I can feel from these creatures. At this point, it is unknown what their mission here is with these villagers.
It can't be a good one. Look at this. They're not willing.
How many
Well-
of them are there? Out of character.
I've read an awful lot of books with pictures in them, drawings of all sorts of creatures. So would there be a chance that I recognize these things?
Sure. This is gonna be a cunning. Since this is like a pagan thingy, and you come from the city, I'm going to give you a minus. No, I'm gonna give you a standard check, but with a second chance of fail. So roll twice, pick the higher.
No.
The first one is a success, I believe. My cunning is 13 and I rolled an 11.
All right.
And the second one's a 16.
Oh, so yeah, you are not aware of this pagan thingy, what that's going on around here.
There's nothing I can do, right? Okay.
So what are you guys up to?
Well, in all honesty, it doesn't seem to be our concern. I mean, it's not that they don't seem to be severely harming these people. It's rather
Not
strange.
severely.
I mean, it's not our business.
But this is the village for you to resupply.
Oh, then it is our business.
It's very much our business.
All right.
Because you're running really low on supplies, you can probably survive 2 or 3 more days in the wild, and then you have to start,
Maybe we can sneak our way into the store.
and rob it. And
What
go on your
people am
way.
I with?
I love it. If that succeeds, it's gonna be all this thing in the trash. Let's go further. No, seriously, I love it. But whatever you guys decide.
Help me with this, please.
Well,
Arno, you're the leader. You're the tough guy here.
I'm the leader. Well, puts me in a rather interesting position, is it?
You know what? I'm gonna
Did
pour
you
myself
realize I
a
was in
cup of
charge?
coffee, and I'll leave you to decide what to do exactly. Like make a plan or something.
Well, if you really want me to sneak into this village, well, I'm certainly capable of it. But I don't know. These creatures are unnatural, to be sure. I'm not sure that it's particularly our business, but they are in our way, aren't they?
They are very much. And I'll lift my sword a little bit. I think there is no discussion here. I'll look around to the others.
Well, we seem to be discussing it, but
But we shouldn't.
well, very well. I'm no leader. It's not a position that I would happily claim. So I'll defer to you.
What do you think, Snush? You can make it harder, right? Scarno.
These creatures may be just the minds of children. Maybe they're just having fun with these villagers. They may mean no harm. Say we just approach and see how the reaction is to us, of course.
Well, that's an excellent idea. We can talk to them. I'm not sure why I didn't think of that.
Did he say how the villagers were actually reacting?
They're not. I think they're not really struggling or not really like violently fighting against them or something.
They're
so,
probably drugged.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption, I think. Well, we can always try having a chat with them. I'm not sure if they will listen to us, but it's worth a try before the blades come out. And then he looks down at his weapons. Well, I suppose they already have, but you know what I mean.
Yes, but I'm ready.
Yes, I think we should certainly expect the worst from these, whatever they are.
It shows when you print it. Well, let's just go ahead then and see what happens.
All right, I'm back, and I just heard the last part, but is that what you're doing?
Talk to them, and I imagine probably I'm gonna go talk to them, but I don't know.
Well, he's the best talker.
I mean, I'm ready to go take the lead unless someone else wants to.
I'm a bit shy, so I don't think I would be able to convince anyone.
Go ahead.
All right. I grasping my blades, I step forward and I check to make sure the others are close behind me before approaching the bonfire. And I stand there, letting the light shine over me, and I call out, "Hello there. I'm not interrupting anything, am I?"
Last famous words. Hello there.
Four of these figures notice you and turn around towards you, and still with their dancing movements, they're like stomping into the ground, and each time there's a different bell on them ringing. They have like bells on their feet, on their hands, on their bodies. They would start like circling you and dancing with these things. Dancing and actually growling towards you, but you will hear no comprehensive speech whatsoever.
As they start coming towards me, I sort of start to back away from them, holding my blades out in front of me. Now, there's no cause for all of that growling. I really wanted to say hello. Do you speak the common tongue?
Seeing that there are not enough people to circle you and growl at you, two more join, and they are really, really trying their best to circle you. But still no answer.
I'm going to have to ask you to back away. This is making me a little bit uncomfortable. I really wanted to have a conversation, perhaps join in the revelry. This is a little bit unusual. I take kind of try to step a little bit back just to gauge their reactions as I try to shift back a little bit.
Two of them, who are mostly in white, they will take out their lassos and they'll start like preparing to ensnare.
I prepared
Some.
too. Jeez.
All right. Well, I really wanted to have a friendly conversation, but I suppose if this is how it's going to be, and then a somewhat steely expression comes over his face as he brandishes his swords. Very well then.
Let's dance.
Let's dance.
Awesome. What about the rest of you, though?
I lift my sword and I get ready next to him. Little shits.
Well, prepare one of my powers.
All right, so you're all joining into this little dance, I suppose.
Yeah, you're gonna see Scarnovo. He's gonna sit at the edge of these woods. I don't know how far these creatures are away from us, but he has this, looks like a big, large map case that is slung across his shoulder, across his back, that is capped on both ends. He swings it around as he starts uncapping one end, and you see him pull these 3 black shafted arrows out as he stakes them into the ground. And I'm going to use one of my abilities from there.
All right. Let's see if we get to using your ability. We're going to roll that and awesome initiative that I thought of. All right. You're going to give me an initiative check, like whatever attribute your character is using for initiative. Just roll me a check without any modifiers. If you succeed, you get an initiative slot before the creatures, the enemy, whatever. And if you fail, you get a 1 after them.
Which attribute are we supposed to use?
Usually quick, if you have no powers to make that either vigilant or discreet or I think persuasive. Okay. It's also an option, but if you don't have any of those powers that specifically do that, it's a quick.
I pass.
I fail.
Me too.
It's a pass.
All right, so you get 3 initiative slots before the creatures, and you can take them in whatever order you as a group decide.
I mean, Arno's surrounded by them, so unless someone has some ability that would make them poorer at hitting me or give some kind of advantage or something like that, then
I have some kind of chain lightning.
That makes people docile, right?
Yeah, usually or aggressive.
All right, just to remind you, there are like maybe 24 of villagers around. Maybe those kind of people who don't like seeing magic, just to make sure that you understand the situation. There's like 10 of those creatures. There's more. You know that more are coming from time to time from the woods towards the village.
Well, if all else fails, I will zap them. But maybe you should try your diplomacy first, Arno.
All right. I mean, we're in initiative, all right? So if I continue trying to talk to them, which hasn't worked so far, then I suppose it's going to use my action on it.
Yeah, just pound them on the head.
Probably, yes, but it hasn't worked thus far, so... Yeah. Exactly. But since you're initiative, you're going to be allowed a check if you really continue to do that.
Yeah. Well, I shake my head. Come, it really didn't have to come to this, and I strike out with my fancy sword and parrying dagger at the closest creature.
All right. Give me your attack at -1.
Yeah, the second one was a 1. There's not an effect of criticals other than it's hitting automatically, right?
Yes, there is. There is a 1d6 additional damage.
Okay. All right. So then...
All right. So that's 2 hits, right?
Yep. So that's 1d10, 1d8, and 1d6 on one of them. Just a sec. Okay, so the first one is a total of 10.
Jesus.
Oh wait, that was no. Just a sec. That's two separate attacks. There were, sorry, two separate attacks. So there's and this right. So okay, well that's still 10, and then 3.
A 10 and 3.
Hmm?
All right, so you hit the closest creature to you, and it screams in pain. And this time, it's not like a growl or anything. You just hear a human scream, and he falls to the ground. And with your second hit, you feel that it doesn't quite penetrate these thick skins that it's been wearing, but the mask falls. It falls in the mud, in the half-frozen mud, and the mask falls like next to it, and you see a human, and he's like screaming in pain. He's catching his wound. I suppose it's in a very vital area. That's like 10 damage, and a little bit of a streak of blood is like starting to form at the corner of his mouth.
And I yell out, "We don't need to do this anymore."
Obviously. But what are the rest of you doing before they take a chance to you know, do anything themselves?
I have movement, right? How many of them would be able to hit me with an opportunity attack if I were to back away from them?
None yet. They were just like circling you, but
right.
not actually engaging
then
you.
I will back away from them with my blades up, take a few sort of quick shuffling steps back, and then, you know, continue advancing backward as far as I can towards my companions.
All right, cool. 2 more slots.
I'm still waiting to see what happens.
So do you want me to go first? Yeah, we have 2 slots, so yeah. Okay, so I would lift my sword and where's my character sheet? Jeez.
There's one on the ground grasping for, you know, his dear life, and there are 4 more of them. They still haven't gotten a chance to realize what's happening.
Yeah, let's take the one on the ground. Of course.
All right. Attack with, well, in this case, this guy is laying on the ground, so you get an advantage, but still it's -1, so -1 + 2 in total +1.
Yeah, and I'm using strong instead of accurate, and that's a 16, so that doesn't hit.
All right, so your sword slashes into the half-frozen mud next to the fallen guy.
Yep.
Cool. His face is now both covered in blood and in frozen mud. Oh, he's still trying to get some air. Who wants to go next?
Just a clarification, we saw this creature when Arno struck it down. We saw this creature kind of transform from the creature back into a human form. Is that correct?
No. Well, yes, he fell on the ground. The mask fell off his face, and you saw a human face.
Oh, so it was a mask that he was wearing. Scarno has these 3 black shafted arrows that are floating just inches above the ground. But once he sees that it's a human under there and not some form of creature that he was trying to figure out that did not put out any taint, he's just going to stand there and hold his. You know, he's not going to do anything. He's going to stand there and hold those 3 arrows in case they keep coming.
And then the wizard is waiting to see what happens. So I guess it's them now. What they do is they just throw their lassos, their staffs that they were holding, and they just flock towards the fallen one, and they try to, you know, 2 of them are trying to cover his wounds, while one of them takes off his mask. And he's standing on his knee towards you, and he's raising one hand and says, no, please stop. No more of this. No need.
I spread my arms. I told you quite clearly to keep your distance, and you didn't listen to me. But I'm more than happy to end this conflict now if you're willing to see some reason now.
The guy's clearly a little bit inebriated. He doesn't really speak quite, eloquently. Wow. But you see that his face is like just dawning on him that, and he says, "Oh, yes, I understand. That's totally our fault. We didn't realize that people not from around here would know what's going on. So please, if anyone you can help Giro, my friend over here, that'll be much appreciated."
I could help him. Yeah.
Oh yes, please. He sees your hat and that you're not wearing armor. He thinks that you're some sort of a wise man. So he says, "Yes, please. I believe you can do something about it. You're a healer, right?"
Yeah. I've got some ointments and stuff. I can take a look.
Please, we'll be very we'll really appreciate that, and we will give you whatever you need in return. But please help him. He looks like he's dying.
Do I get a bonus or whatever? A modifier?
Bonus for what? You wanna just?
I'll use my medicus.
Oh, you're gonna use your magic on it.
Oh, medicus, not magic.
Oh, medicus.
Yes.
No, since you have it, I'm just going to say that you can definitely do something to stabilize the guy. No need for that check right now. So you go over there and start closing his wounds, and he goes into shock, but seems to be stable.
Meanwhile, Arno, he sheaths his blades, and he seems a little bit upset by this whole thing. I mean, he was kind of keeping this cocky exterior, but you once again see his hands like twitching in the direction of his bag of dream snuff as he kind of lowers his voice and says, I apologize for hurting your friend. I acted too hastily. I didn't fully understand the situation. You were no threat to me, and I apologize. I know that it doesn't mean much, I'm sure, but I'm sorry.
No, we understand. It's our fault. And as he's saying that, you see that these guys are putting back their masks, and they're actually going back to the bonfire, while a few of the villagers are coming to get this guy who is now stabilized, and they seem to be taking him off into one of the huts. 3 people approach you from the villagers, and one of them is seems like a very old man, and the other 2 are like a younger man, obviously very fit, and they seem to be acting like his bodyguards. And he introduced himself as the village master, and his name is Yarn, and he wants to pull you aside and quickly explain to you what the hell is going on. In short, he will take you to the side and tell you that this is a ritual they have in their village, and these things that you see, those creatures, are actually young men from the village itself, and they dress up as monsters, and they are actually doing this dance. They're going to do it all night. There are going to be a lot of drinks. There will be feasting, and they are actually, what they're doing is scaring the evil away from the village, so that over the course of the next year they have like good luck and good fortune and good yields and things like that. And it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they really apologize that this sort of thing happened. But you realize that this person that was taken away, it was taken away by the villagers, but the others seem to stay in character even from all the shock. The others seem really serious into continuing this rite, continuing this dance, and they they obviously didn't stop that right just because one of them almost died. They explain it's a serious thing for them.
Well, if there is drinking and revelry involved, then Arno is all in. What exactly are they drinking? Does it seem to just be alcohol, or does it seem to be some sort of strange substance?
It seems to be alcohol. At first, it would taste very mild, but in a few seconds, you realize that it's very strong. And if you ask them, they will say that they are making it from fermented roots and tree bark.
Well, Arno is not particularly known for his restraint, so he's going to go right ahead and help himself to a fair quantity of this this drink. And pretty soon he's, singing and swaying and dancing around the bonfire along with them.
Awesome. What about the rest of you guys?
Are those guys still around? I would like to know how the festivities will proceed, because I've read about things like this, and usually you have to appease the evil somehow.
He will look at you a little bit, with the one eyebrow raised, and he will tell you that yes. We'll be feasting all night, and at dawn, of course, there will be a ritual of sacrifice, and of course, that is very, what's the word? Like not superficial, but ritualistic. Yeah, they're going to sacrifice a few goats, a few fruit, and whatsoever. You want to give me a vigilant check, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is at -1.
I'm absolutely not vigilant at all.
All right, you are a little. Oh, sorry, not little. You're a gullible wizard who believes that this guy is telling you all there is.
As I said, I've never been outside. Well, I've almost never been outside before, so I have no idea that they're going to sacrifice Arno.
Well, if I'm going to be sacrificed in the morning, I at least want to die happy. So, I just continue my revelry. And if there are any, women in the village who seem to be dancing, then I'll, kind of dance along with them and just continue singing and drinking. Completely oblivious to the fact that we're probably going to be sacrificed first thing in the morning.
Everyone seems to be dancing. Everyone seems to be drinking. Soon after, there's like on the bonfire, they take away a few of the hot ashes, and then they make up like this big barbecue with whole animals that are being, not gonna say sheep. Let's stay with goats and pigs. But yeah, sheep as well. And yeah, usually a ram, like a big, juicy ram. They do on these things so that you can see the horns and the head as it's going over the fire. And this is going to be like a long night, but still you probably are tired unless you are drinking, which will keep you up all night. But if you're not drinking, you're probably gonna long for some rest or something. I don't know. What do you think?
I will rest anyway. I mean, I won't revel all night long. At some point, I'll probably collapse into my bed.
I'll probably be the first to hit the sack.
Yeah, I'm probably second. I think this all is creepy, kind of.
They offer you a barn with lots of hay where you can, settle yourselves.
Right.
That's good.
It's kind of warm from the hay itself, which is like rotting somewhere underneath all those bales. There's also some barn animals who are trying to sleep there, but obviously can't. But about the you notice that you want to go to sleep, but you can't really. If you keep drinking that thing that they're giving you, it keeps your heart rate up. It keeps you awake. You probably dabbled with some drugs before. You know that there's types of drugs that can do that. So even if you go to sleep, you really can't. Sorry, Tony, what was that?
I was just going to say, just for the record, Scarno was not participating in the drink at all.
Good choice. But for you over there, can you give me, let's see, poisons are strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you give me a strong -3?
Strong -3. Okay, that's less than 6. Oh, that's a 3 though. I made that.
Awesome. So yeah, you are quite familiar with such drugs, so they're not enough to, wear you down. Even though you haven't almost slept a wink through the night, you won't lose any of your stamina, life points. What was it called here? Toughness. Yeah. Toughness.
Well, let's add some more to the mix. As I sort of start coming off of the buzz of this stuff that I'm drinking, I sort of stumble into the barn. And I lay down as if I'm going to sleep, and then I reach for this dream snuff, and I breathe it in deeply, and then I just sort of lay myself back on this bed of straw, and this slow smile creeps over my face as all of the anxiety that had just started to rush over me as I as this stuff I'd been drinking wore off, just melts away, and everything's all right, and I just not sleeping, but I'm drifting.
So Arno knows his uppers and downers. Damn it. All right. You all go to rest. Finally, Arno does as well, and it's probably in the wee hours, like 3 or 4 in the morning. There's still a few hours left, but you spend them sleeping. That's good. You get the rest, and at some point at sunrise, there are like roosters all over the village. Start producing their awesome sounds. Does any of you wake up by the roosters, or just hear them and try to keep on sleeping?
I mean, I'm pretty strung out on my dream snuff, but I probably sort of, stir around. If I'm actually sleeping, then not that it's relevant because I haven't lost any toughness, but I would still make a resolute roll to see if I'm plagued by nightmares, I suppose.
All right.
I wake up.
I wake up. I've just managed to sort of drift off, cradled by this lovely feeling of the dream snuff, when all of a sudden, you hear me hyperventilating, and I sit bolt upright, drenched with sweat, staring out.
Let me tell you about your nightmare, though.
Go ahead.
Your nightmare starts awesome. You're at a lake. It's like springtime, and there's flowers everywhere, and you are sitting at on a rock beside that lake, and the lake has like water lilies and all other types of very beautiful water plants, and among those lilies and stuff, there are 5 almost naked women. They have this white cloth, white dresses, but from the water it's become like semi-transparent, and they're like laughing and dancing, and you can see them walking on the water. Some of them want to just go underneath, but as they come out, they can walk on the water. And one of them though sees you, and just as she sees you, she starts coming towards you. You really, in your dream, cannot do anything at this point. You are just mesmerized, and as she's coming towards you, with every step she becomes like uglier and uglier, and what you see are some burns some like burn scars appearing on her, and she just lashes towards you with her hand spread out and cries, "Help me!" And her face just distorts in a very, awful way. And this is when the moment that you wake up. This is the last thing you saw. And Tom, you were saying something before that dream sequence?
Yeah, when the roosters start crowing or whatever they do, I wake up and I start reading a bit. It's the only time I get to spend time with books.
Although it's very, very dark, still there's like a dusk light. I suppose for a bookworm like you, it's enough to read on your books. As you guys wake up slowly or faster, you realize that at the door of the barn, which is like not actually a door, it's just like a doorway, there are two people. They're facing you. They seem like they be watching you, but they're not moving or talking amongst themselves. They're just sitting there. They have this long staffs that you usually herd sheep with. Nothing else. Just sitting there watching.
I sort of sit up groggily and shake my head. Lord, Prios, can I get a little bit of privacy here?
Yes, of course. You are now.
Are they like blocking the door?
It seems that way, although they're doing their best not to look like it.
I stand up and start, taking my clothing off to change it. I'm like, pardon me, you're not really my type.
They'll turn around, but not like all the way, just sideways, and still like they're trying to keep an eye on you guys.
You're going to see Scarno as he is awakened early, also like Bartolom. He's going to not say a word to him. He's just going to try to not push his way out, but he's just going to try to walk outside.
And I'll be, hey, friend, where are you going? What do you need? Maybe we can get it for you. Very cheerfully.
At this point, I need to breathe the fresh air that comes in from nature. I do not believe that you two can help with that. And I keep walking.
They turn to each other and they're like, all right. And they shout, Ivan, come over here. And as you're like, they let you pass, obviously. But Ivan is like one very huge fella who approaches, says, yes, Ivan, please show this gentleman the beautiful well that we have. Maybe he needs to wash his face. And Ivan comes as, yes. You want to see well? Come. I show you.
Scarno just looks up because I'm sure he's much bigger in height and size.
He's like an ogre size. He also looks kind of, not dumb, but slow.
Yeah, with Scarno only being about 5'8", he definitely looks up at him and he just goes, friend, not quite yet. I'm just breathing in the fresh air. I will await the remainder of my party, and maybe if there's any breakfast left over, that's what we would like.
He turns towards the others, and they kind of, you see them twitching their heads in some direction. And he says, "Oh yes, there is a lot of meat left. I can take you."
I hold my hands. One second, my friend. And come to think of it, probably I just collapsed into my bed wearing what I was wearing before. So I kind of, seeing that they seem possibly a little bit strange, I stop sort of undoing my clothing and armor and, buckle it back and look around to make sure that my weapons are still there.
Oh yeah, everything's where I thought it was. Yes, if and Ivan is like, yes, maybe all of you want to come have breakfast, yes?
Well, I'd certainly prefer to have breakfast with my companions than to go alone. It's not very polite, is it? And I look to the others with a sort of meaningful look.
Yeah, I second that.
I nod and return that look. We have to move on as fast as we can.
I'm not a big fan of grilled breakfast.
We also have onion and tomatoes. What? No, they wouldn't have tomato. And potatoes. Yes.
Do you not have any fresh-grown fruits such as berries and things?
They look around and they're like, no, fresh. No, it's January. Maybe we can find some gems. Want some gems? Gems.
I follow them, and then at some point, how many of them are there now? There's 3, right?
There's 3, and they're calling Jarno.
Okay.
You know, come help serve the guests.
And are they serve the guests? Oh Lord, are they walking behind us, beside us, in front of us, surrounding us?
Definitely beside and behind you, like, you know, like a semi-crescent, like a crescent.
At some point, I sort of, you know, put an arm on Yvonne's shoulder and I say, "Hey there, big guy. I hope you don't mind, but before we sit down for breakfast, I'd very much like to relieve myself. A little bit too heavy on the drinking last night, you know."
Yes, sure. Come, I show you.
All right.
Where you can relieve yourself. And he seems insistent to come with you.
Okay. I let him come with me, and then at some point I say, "Do you mind?" As I, you know, gesture towards my arm. It's gonna take me a little while.
At this point, he's not with his smart friend, so you see him turn around again, like trying to find someone to tell him what to do, but he doesn't. So he's like, "Okay, just don't be long."
All right, of course.
And he shows you over to the bushes, you know.
As soon as he turns around, I try to sneak away from him.
All right, we'll get to that in a moment. About the rest of you, would you like to be ushered into one of the huts to have breakfast, or do you want to do something else? Look around.
At least let's have breakfast before we kill them all.
Let's eat their food and then kill them. All right.
Can anyone check the food for poisons or something?
Of course. That's going to be, I believe, vigilant. But I also suppose cunning can be substituted here, because cunning is the thing that you use for poisons, right? So knowing a poison should be cunning.
And I've got alchemy, so maybe
you do have a great, yeah, you have to tell me those things, because, you know, in this game, mostly when you have a talent, or it's called an ability here, right? Yeah, you can do more than just, you know, standard attribute check. All right, so you do have alchemy. So you can check the food, and not really a check here. You are definite that this food hasn't been tampered with anything apart from staying overnight, but it was staying overnight in a -5 environment, so it's more or less fresh, just, you know, slightly frozen.
Oh,
that's
good. Yeah, I'll eat it then.
All right, so the rest of you, the 3 of you, are going into that hut or cottage?
Yeah.
All right.
Scorno will go with them, yeah.
So you'll be having breakfast. All right, back over to Arno. Arno, I know your discretism just awesome, and this guy's vigilant is like, so yeah, you can sneak on him, you know, just like that. You disappear in the bushes, and what do you like to do?
I'm gonna try to kind of like skirt around, and once I think I've basically thrown him off and that he has lost track of where I am, I'm gonna try to see if I can head back towards where the others are, sort of behind them, to see what happens, see if they're, you know, going into a building, if I can look inside or something like that, just kind of survey the area without being seen.
The rest of your party members, or the rest of the villagers?
The rest of the party members.
Rest of the party.
But If I see any villagers doing anything that seems odd along the way, then of course I'll stop and
You'll see that your friends are ushered into one of the cottages, and you hear perhaps some cutlery and wooden plates and stuff being set on the table. You see very few villagers, not like the usual rustle, but probably they're tired. But you'll see two of them, and they seem to be going off into the same direction, which will be almost the opposite of where they took you from your barn towards the cottage.
I'll follow them for a little while.
All right. As you follow them, you'll see more and more villagers joining them and going towards what seems to be looking as some sort of a procession, which is happening right before dawn.
Okay. And seeing that my friends are not with them, I'll sort of I'll watch them for a little while, and then I will head back in the direction of where my friends were headed, my party members, my companions, and I'll try to sort of skirt around the side of the building and just sort of get a look inside there.
As you are watching the procession, it will start, people will be gathering obviously on the town square. There will be still like hot ashes left from the huge fire last night. Some of those young fellows that used to be dressed in those costumes would still be, but their masks will be off. The rest of them will have all their costumes off, but a few bells and whistles, not whistles, bells and...
So none of them are wearing masks anymore, right?
No, but they are barefoot and they are actually walking on the hot ashes, and they are holding some sort of idols, and they're like praying with them. They're doing this in circles, and after a while those guys will go into the nearest hut and they'll come out with a woman. This woman will have fair blonde hair, and she'll be dressed in white, and but she will be chained with iron cuffs on her hands, and from the dangling, you assume, from her feet. And they'll then be on both sides of her holding their idols, and they will slowly start walking eastwards towards the sun. There will be, obviously, you see now that there is a path from where the town square is into the woods.
All right. Well, I certainly don't like the looks of them, carrying a chained up woman up this hill. And I have plenty of ideas about what they might be doing, but I am certainly not about to confront all of them. So I slip off and head back towards the place where my friends were headed. And I just sort of at that point stride towards the opening of the building.
All right. Just as you're going towards the building, just as a quick flashback, you now realize that the face of this woman is the same one from your dream.
Oh, shit.
And that will happen just as you're opening the door. But are you just appearing in the building, or are you appearing from the bushes where Ivan left you?
I'm gonna try to appear from the bushes where he left me.
All right. This little poor dumb fellow was just sitting there, scratching his head, like looking around the bushes with the other bushes, like calling for you, still not knowing what's going on. Like, hey, there you are. What took you so long? You had constipation?
It's not really something I want to talk about right before breakfast, my friend. Speaking of which, my stomach's growling.
Come, we have lots of things. And he'll usher you, show you the way, making sure he's like right behind you.
All right.
Inside, cooking, not cooking, but actually food is serving. These guys are like trying their best to look like servants, and they're serving you food. They're like smiling nervously amongst each other.
Are they like, all up in our business, or can I turn to the others and speak to them quietly without being overheard?
I was gonna say a discreet check, but you're also discreet. Kind of, compels me to just give you one quick freebie, like
I murmur quickly to the others. I kind of wait until they're looking away and, don't seem to be paying attention. And then I lean in. It seems our friends have captured a woman chained up. Don't tell them about the dream. I don't like this.
See, I knew it.
All right, look back around. I could certainly do for some breakfast. Is it done soon?
Yes, and they serve you all kind of cold meats and not so fresh, but just vegetables, plain vegetables, uncut.
I'm sure I don't want to know what this meat is, but I eat it anyway.
Mutton, mostly mutton.
All right. So, what are we doing after this? Are we going to this ceremony that you're doing that you talked about last night, or what's going to happen now?
You think we have another choice?
Oh, no need to go to ceremony if you don't want to.
I mean, I'd love to see it. I'm not really particularly familiar with such customs. Good to learn new things every day, isn't it?
Well, what kind of a ceremony is it?
Just beating the sun and giving our fruits of our labor. The usual.
I'd love to see it, if that's all right with you, of course.
Oh, come on. Village master says it's a sacred thing. Don't you just feel like very comfortable here?
Actually, I'd love to stretch my legs.
Well, you did say I could get everything I wanted because I healed that guy yesterday, right?
Yes, that's true.
So
That's true. You healed my cousin. They turn to each other. They kind of nod to each other, and they say, "Okay, then. Maybe you will catch the best part. So yes, we can take you to ritual."
wonderful. I've always been interested in these kind of folkloric happenings.
But what Master said there is that any amount of iron can kind of spoil the ritual. So would you mind if I asked you to leave all your iron possessions in this cottage? We'll keep it.
I sort of look around. All right. I turn to the others. What do you think?
Well, I only have this old dagger, so I don't really mind.
I shrug. I suppose you can have my sword, but make sure you take good care of it. And I try to hide my parrying dagger in my
in your sleeve? In your boot?
Let's say in my boot.
All right. Give me a discrete -1, please.
That is a success.
Of course. Yep. Anyone else wants to relieve themselves from all of their iron they have?
No, Scarno looks at him and he goes, I suffered an injury when I was much younger. This staff is what helps me walk much better. And also this big scroll map case that he slings across his back that appears to hold possessions that no one knows what's really in there. He leaves that on his back too, unless they mention it.
But is there any iron in this stuff or hat of yours?
Is there any what now?
Iron.
No,
sorry.
It's just a wooden quarterstaff and I guess the arrow ends would be iron, and it's in that case.
They're small enough that you can try to hide them.
Well,
with a
see, I've got them.
discreet-
I've got them here inside of this what looks like a big map case or a big carrying case with caps on the end.
Oh, okay, if it looks like a map case, then it definitely doesn't look like a quiver. Then you're good.
Yeah, that's I've got it disguised as that. Yeah, so definitely, yeah.
That's good. But what about our knight? Benara, how does
What-
she react to that?
To what exactly?
To them asking you to relieve all your iron possessions, like everything
She's
made of iron.
absolutely thrilled, of course, and she gives the others that look from saying, "I knew it. I told you. That's what her eyes are telling them." And yeah, but she does so. I mean, yeah.
And I say, but wait a second. I thank you for offering to take care of our belongings, but it's a responsibility I'm not sure you want to have. These weapons they have a lot of sentimental value to us, you see. They've saved our lives many times. How about I put them back in our lodgings so that you don't have to worry about keeping an eye on them? And then I'll join you. Give him a very friendly and winning smile.
All right. You can give me a persuasive -1.
All right. I don't know if my con. Yeah, +1 to persuasive test to tell lies because of my con man benefit. So that puts me like that's an old cheat. No, that isn't 13, and that's a 1. Okay. I think maybe they believe me.
Well, not only they believe you, they will send Ivan with you to make sure that you're doing what you're doing. And as you know, Ivan is like so easily distracted by. Well, there are no butterflies at this season, but snowflakes. This guy sees a snowflake, and you're like, what's going on? So yeah, you can do with her armor and weapons, whatever you decide.
All right. Well, I imagine that most of these things I'm not going to be able to. I mean, her armor is too big to hide and carry with me without being obvious. What kind of weapon does she have?
A two-handed sword.
All right.
Have fun.
I don't think I could pull off hiding that, but I will. I'll take my. I'll try to take my rapier while he's not looking, and basically put it under my cloak into my belt through the back. Her armor, I can't really do anything with. The two-handed sword is probably also way too big, I imagine, probably, even under like a cloak. I'm guessing.
May I suggest something?
Yeah.
With that 1 persuasive, you can actually ask Ivan to carry them for you so that they are close by.
Okay. To the ceremony?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if he's allowed to carry iron stuff, then sure. But I'm still gonna try to get my rapier into my.
Of course, he's allowed to carry iron stuff because this whole thing is a lie, obviously.
Right. Yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah, but if it's possible, I still want to try to get my slide my fencing sword into my the back of my belt underneath my cloak.
And you do because Ivan has a -5 vigilant. So with your 16,
Poor
that's
Ivan.
always a
Poor
success.
Ivan.
All right. So along with so Ivan is carrying basically the armor and the swords or all other weapons of Abenara, and all the rest of them are escorting you towards the procession. And at the head of the procession, you see all these young, strong men that used to be, having all this guys dancing and singing, are like gathered around this beautiful young woman that's chained, and right before her goes the village elder, and they are walking towards the sun. Right at this day, The sun is very low on the horizon. Sorry, it's rising. Of course, it's low on the horizon, but it's like right. It's rising right in front of this path, and they're walking not such a long distance, and they're walking very solemnly, and they're like humming. They're obviously tired from chanting and shouting and dancing and drinking, and they're humming a tune, and they're walking towards what seems to be like a rock formation, right, like in front, right ahead. You join the procession at the very back. You see some smirks, like people are looking back at you, but Ivan is like, nodding at them and smiling, and he's carrying this armor and stuff. For him to easily carry it, he tried to put some of the arm and shoulder pads on him, and he's like very happy with himself. The rest of you, of course, are not really that happy, and you can see them. They're holding their staffs, their like shepherd staffs, but they're like grasping them very tightly, and they're watching your every move. Anything you want to do before you reach that rock formation?
The village elder, is there, I mean, are we close enough that I can see him, eye to eye?
He's like about 30 people ahead on this path. And the path is not really wide. It's like maybe 3-4 people at most wide. So, yeah, he's ahead quite a bit.
I mean, would he be in range that I could use my witch sight on him?
Yeah, that should be all right.
Yeah, I would want to try to gather what his shadow is right now.
All right, that is a -2.
All right, that'd be I have 12, so it'd be 10. I have a 6 on the die.
Awesome. You see his shadow, and his shadow is very unlike the others that you checked earlier. This one has all the colors of nature. Like it has both like wintry colors, like cold ones, and then it has the warm colors of the summer and autumn, and it has some very vagrant, brilliant colors of the spring. And but all around them, there's like this very, very fluorescent purple that is very, very disgusting to look at. I don't know about you guys, but when I see these kind of neon purplish things, I really kind of, you get a little bit nausea from it. That kind of
right.
Color.
So I would know.
Yeah,
I would
definitely
know
taint.
that's bad then.
Yeah, and by the way, sin is gone, so your temporary corruption is out.
Yep, 2 this time, so I'm up to 7.
All right, but without the previous one, because that's another scene.
Oh, that one's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
It's seeing the getting the nauseous feeling at the end. I would probably be walking closest to Bartolom, I would think, usually. I'm going to whisper over to him and go, the village elder, there's something, he is not well. Prepare yourself for the worst, I'm afraid.
And as you're walking towards it, can all of you give me resolute checks at -5?
A what check?
A resolute -5.
That's an absolute
That's
success.
gonna go so poorly.
No.
I would have made that if we went for the -5, but that's a fail.
Yeah, with the -5, I failed also.
So anyone succeeded?
Yeah, I've got a 1.
Perfect. So you're the only one who is not getting the message. So all of you and the rest of you, you see this woman, you see her face. Of course, Arno knows her. For all of you, it's just a new person. She's calling out to you. She's calling out for help. And she's also calling out for her veil.
Her veil.
Her veil.
Hmm.
And you see a flash of a cottage. You remember passing by that cottage? It was the cottage of some shepherds, which is still in the village behind you.
Okay. All right. Well, Then I'm going to try to see if I can move away from the others and head towards this cottage and slip in back to the others before I'm spotted. There's a lot of people around there, aren't there?
Yes, they are. Now it's not just Ivan this time. So in order to do so, basically, if you want to go back to the village, no one will stop you.
Okay.
The thing they don't want you to is to, go to the procession. If you want to go back, it's not a problem.
Okay. So basically, I will need to try to. They won't stop me from leaving, but they will try to stop me, perhaps, if I try to come back.
Probably, or at least watch over you.
Okay. Yeah. And this flash of this cottage was kind of in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I slip away. And I know no one's going to try to stop me, but I want to see if I can do it without too many people noticing.
There's no one in the village.
Okay. Then I just head back and towards this cottage.
All right. Do you want to hurry?
Yeah, I'm going to go pretty quickly so that I can try to get back there fast.
All right. Third cottage. In going back into the village, it's the third cottage. You can easily recognize it, like the images still flashing into your mind. It's a standard cottage with a thing for sheep. What's that called?
What?
Yeah.
A pen?
Yeah.
Pen?
Yes. Like a pen. There's like a fence and a pen and a place for the sheep to huddle behind. And the cottage itself, it's not. There's not like there's a door or there's a lock or something. There's a door, but these doors are like easily closed with just wooden things that you put on ancient doors.
Okay.
So there's no one around actually. You can just open the door.
Okay.
And inside though, there are two children. They look at you like amazed, and the veil is very easy to spot. Like it's like a mantelpiece. It's like above the fireplace, and it's kind of almost giving like some fluorescent light. It's like that white. It's not like white like a fabric. It's like the whitest of whites. It makes everything around it a little bit darker because it almost shines. The children look at you and like, hello, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here.
I look around. Have you got anything to drink? And if you give me something to drink, I'll show you a trick. And I pull a Orteg out of my pocket and start flipping it along the back of my fingers. I'm thirsty, parched. Could use a drink before I join the procession.
The boy's amazed and dashes towards the back door so that he can give you something to drink. But the girl is kind of suspicious, like wait a second, why would we give you anything to drink? You're not supposed to be here. Please just leave.
Like, all right, I'll leave, but just let me retrieve my and he reaches behind her ear and pulls out a coin, flips it into the air, and oh, actually this must be yours. And he puts it in her hand.
That's supposed to be a trick that she will go for the coin and doesn't realize that you're grabbing for the veil, or are you trying to bribe her?
I'm just trying to sort of get her guard down and get her a little bit like more on my side.
All right, she will look towards the coin, look towards you. You see a suspicious look back towards the back room, and then she will reach out her left hand for the coin.
Okay, and I sort of continue, and I repeat my request for something to drink as I, then do a few more tricks, and yeah.
The boy will come back with a cup and a jar, and he'll pour you some water.
All right. Then as I take the water, just like holding it, and I sort of jeez. I'm trying to get a hold of the veil, but I'm really sure how to get rid of these little rats.
You're very good with the sword.
No. No, thank you. And then I take another coin out of my pocket and start running along the backs of my fingers. And then I say, whoever can catch it first gets a $1, and I throw it up into the air, like flip it high.
Damn it. There's gonna be a discrete of +2. I mean, you can only probably fail by a 20 with a 20.
That is a 6, so.
All right, so you do your magic trick. You grab the veil. You want to dash out? Or...
Yeah. So as I head outside, I dump the remains of my cup out without even drinking it. Like, and then I kind of like swaying towards the crowd, like taking a imaginary swig. And as I come back, I'm like, I can't go to a festival without some drink. Sort of staggering back towards the crowd.
All right, give me a quick test, please, to see how fast you were able to pull all this off. Are they already at the altar or not?
All right, that's an 8. My quick is 10.
All right, that's success. Cool. Meanwhile, the rest of you were solemnly walking at the back of the line, under watch by our 3 fellas and Ivan, who's not really watching you. He's watching the bushes around. Anything you would like to perform, or you know?
No, the only thing Scarno would do is after he gave the warning to Bartolom, he would go towards Ebenera, and he would also inform her there is something very wrong with the village elder. Prepare yourself for something that may change at any moment. And he gives her that warning too.
Do you think he's the root of all the evil here?
Very well. I do believe that he is the influence on others.
Hmm.
I see.
Okay. I'm wondering if I should hide myself from this village elder then.
Hiding is easy if you want to hang back.
No, but I could make myself unnoticeable for that guy. If he's the dangerous one.
Cool. That's the trick of being what was it called?
Unnoticeable.
Unremarkable. Yeah. All right. What kind of check was that, please? Can you
Resolute versus resolute.
Oh. He's got a high resolute though. It's gonna be at the -5.
-5. Okay.
A secret bastard.
He sees me.
Well, it's not like he sees you, but you cannot remain like unnoticeable. All right. Yeah, you kind of stand out from the crowd as he's approaching this stone formation, which appears to be very of course, not surprisingly, looking like an altar. and this is big enough for a person to be laid down at. But they gather around the altar, and of course, as they promised, it was not like the entirely a lie. They'll also bring out a goat, and they'll bring out some fruit. They will be, of course, not fresh, but they kept them exactly for this particular reason. They'll lay them around the altar. They will take the goat. They will put it on top of the altar, and then they were gonna slay it through the throat, so that the whole altar is full of blood and stuff. Through all this time, this young woman will stare back at the villagers, not saying anything. But at the moment that the goat is slain, she will start singing, and her voice will be very, very beautiful. And you see that actually some of the villagers around are starting to sway a little bit with the rhythm of her melody. But the others will try to slap them out of it, and they will succeed. And I want to go over Arno. Arno, do you want to join the others, like as you were from the back, or do you want to do something else?
Yeah, I'm coming towards them, and I'm trying to get a little bit closer to the altar. Well, not like press ahead of them, but I'm following the procession closer to the altar as I try to catch up to everyone else, and
And you're obviously not wearing any of your swords, that kind of thing.
I'm obviously not wearing any of my swords.
All right, cool. So
Well, obviously, too, I assume.
Just as this distraction happens with the singing of this lady, you'll be able to, just like through a concert crowd, make your way slower and slower towards the beginning of the procession. But it's not going to be that easy. The rest of your party will see you trying to do so. What would they do in the meantime? Or at the same time? More like. You see your friend trying to cut through the crowd. Do you want to, in any way assist her, or you want to do something else?
Yeah, I'll help.
I'm still
How?
staggering about with my flagon of alcohol with
All right.
no swords, unarmed.
That is a good
Really?
question. How are you going to help her?
I push myself through the crowd in his direction as well. Something seems to be very wrong.
All right. Do you
Well, I
want to
can-
give me? Sorry, go.
I can push a bit with my my walking staff, which is not metal, so I
So it's not perceived as a threat. All right. Actually, you and Abanara with the walking stuff, you can try to create some sort of a wedge, and so that Arno can go through. All right, Abanara, give me a strong at -3.
Oh, jeez. If I need low, I don't get low. No. I stumble over some people's legs and feet, and
So you do your best to make way for Arno to get to the very front, but you are not able to. Still, Arno gets like maybe the third or fourth row. Imagine it like in a very good concert where everyone wants to get to the front row, so it's very packed in the very front, so you really cannot pass those final 3 rows, and you are stuck right there. People are huddling all around you, so it really starts feeling a little tight.
And I sort of turn to someone next to me and what's gonna happen now? And I like kind of
The guy next to you answers you with the same sort of what's the word? Not vomit. No. Barf's back at you. Like, well, now we sacrifice the virgin.
And Arno goes, the virgin. He's like, he kind of, ribs the guy. I've got news for you, buddy.
He also,
He's a virgin for your whole ritual thing.
he like kind of leans towards you like, yes, we know she's not a virgin, but that doesn't matter.
And he kind of sighs as this ploy apparently doesn't work. He looks towards the woman, kind of trying to meet her eyes, trying to, somehow will her to communicate with him again. As he sort of shifts his weight, he's got the veil sort of carefully wrapped and tucked into, like, deep into his sock, inside of his boot, the opposite one from where his dagger's hidden.
Since you willingly turn towards her, you meet her gaze, and as she's singing, she's singing something that is really incomprehensible to the general crowd, but to you it will sound like the veil, give it to me now.
All right. Well, at this, I kind of like start looking like I'm really about to vomit, as I kind of like I take another, sip, and then I kind of like lurch for it. And I'm like, oh man, like to try to get people to get out of my way.
Nice. Well, definitely with that jet of vomit, people will try to.
Vomit, but I'm.
Well, they're expecting it.
About to. Yeah,
expecting it. So there's like a natural instinct from them to just make some way.
And then I just kind of stagger and stumble forwards towards the woman as I reach into my down into my boot and pull out the veil and thrust it towards her.
All right. At the very last moment, though, there's this village elder with his staff, standing next to her. At the very last moment, he'll try to trip you.
All right.
Give me a defensive -2.
Okay. That is a 6 out of 17. No, not 17, because I don't have my parrying dagger in my hand, and I'm not carrying 2 weapons, but nonetheless, it's a 6 out of like 15.
So at the very last moment, he's trying with his stuff to swipe both your legs so that you drop, but you manage to jump over it, reach out with the veil towards the beautiful woman.
Something horrible's gonna happen.
And I need you all to roll initiative.
Oh god.
Yep. I made it.
Success.
Fail.
Two fails and 2 successes? Is that so?
I made it, yeah.
Ambika, you?
That was a success. Yeah.
Cool. All right. You have 2 initiative slots before shit goes down and 2 afterwards. And you choose among yourselves.
If you don't mind, I'm standing right next to the guy that just tried to trip me, so. Or does anyone want to?
Go ahead. Be my guest.
Then I will reach for the parrying dagger in my boot and pull that out. And I'm not sure that I want to stab him. But I will pull my parrying dagger out. And then.
If you want to think outside the box, try to non-lethally disable him or push him.
The idea. I want to try to, knock him down, trip him, or get his staff out of his hands or something like that.
All right. You can give me an attack at a disadvantage and try to, cut him because you're still cutting him. You're not like pushing him. If you want to push him with your strong, then you just can push him. But I assume you don't want to do that.
I want to try to trip him.
You want to trip him. If you want to trip him with a dagger, that means that you have to hit him somewhere in the legs or something. So if you
on my foot.
If you attack with you trip him with a foot. That's a quick.
Like a leg sweep on him.
All right, so quick then. Give me a quick of +2.
All right. Oh, that just made it thanks to the +2.
All right, so you, as a movement action, you took out your dagger, and then as an action, you tripped the guy.
Yep.
All right, that's what you see happening at the altar. 1 more initiative slot.
How far away am I?
You're not that far away. You can reach him with one movement, but you have to succeed in a strong check because there's like some people in front of you. They're not there. There is a path that Arno just made, but it's not that not right in front of you. So you still have to
Yeah,
give me a strong check to go through.
sounds good. You know what? I just die. No.
And by the way, at the moment you're without your armor, without your sword, and they're somewhere back in the line with Ivan.
Shit.
So what happened? You failed your strong
Yeah, of course. Of course.
2 times in a row?
Yeah.
Great.
I know.
By how
Oh,
much
great
did you
night.
fail it? By
By
how much did you fail it?
one.
Ah, all right. So you don't trip and
No.
fall on someone's dagger. Just kidding. All right. So you're unable to use your movement action to get through the crowd, to get to the altar. You are able to get to the front of the crowd at least, but not all the way through. And you are still some time away. You can still have your action though. So now you can use your action for a movement to get there, but that would be about it. Or you can stay with the crowd and try
Okay.
it
Yeah. Then I'll try again.
out. No, there's no need for a second try. Yeah. The test was just to see if you can do it in one sweep.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. But now I would have made it.
Well, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
All right. You managed to go all the way to the altar, and you are standing there with the priest that's stripped, and Arno and the gal. Now it's time for them, and I'm going to need a 5-minute break.
All right. I'm good with that too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep, I'm back.
Hello.
Everyone appears. All right, there's a question there.
Never gone.
Oh, all right. Ambika, you asked me a question there. Usually you decide, but in the previous case, I decided that it's most befitting to the whatever was happening.
No, that's totally fine. I wasn't sure if it was the result of me getting the 1 or if that was the pain threshold or what. So
That was the result of remaining with what hit point, 1 toughness.
yeah, got it.
I forgot about the threshold, but I'm just not gonna admit it.
Either way, it's fine with me.
All
I
right.
totally never forget things when I run RPGs.
Of course. I mean, who needs the fucking rules? All right. Now, what's happening before you? Right at the altar. First of all, this awesome, beautiful lady takes her veil, puts it on. There's a silvery, brilliant light coming out of her, and she transforms into a very large silver wolf, which is probably big as 4 men.
Oh man,
Like it's huge. That's still like wolf form kind of thing. The priest that is on the ground shouts in horror, says, "No, no, you didn't have to do that." And he grabs his staff and he shouts, "Izgori procha, Ischadie prokleto," and there's like fire coming from his staff, and whoever is over there, this is actual fire. This is not like, of course it's a spell, but it's actual fire that you need to defend against. So you can give me your defense at -5 to try to escape that fire, like brimstone coming from his stuff, and you are muted.
well now I do have my parrying dagger in my hand, so that is 18 -5, so I just made it with a 13.
Just made it a 13. What about the knight without shining armor that is also managed to get to your position? Aminara, you're also around there, and this is like a huge blast of fire that catches everything.
I run into the opposite direction.
Great, but before that, give me a defense -5
Mm-hmm.
check just to see.
Oh, I rolled a 1. Is that no good?
Jesus, why?
I
All
don't
right,
know.
so both of you managed to duck, and this guy hits his initial target, the big silvery wolf, and you actually see the fur of this wolf just starts, getting the sparkles. It doesn't really feel like burnt flesh or wool or fur, but it's definitely pain, and he's like, you hear him howl in pain. Well, it's all right. Sorry. In Bulgarian, we have this weird habit of calling everything he or she. So,
other languages too, a lot actually. Yeah.
So that's what happened right next to the altar. What happens with the rest of them? They are, of course, in shock. But you see that through the crowd, those tough guys that used to, escort you are making their way through the crowd. So this turn, they basically will manage to get to the front line, but still not towards everyone else. But they are obviously going and trying to save their village elder. And now over to the wizard and the mystic, in whichever order you decide, guys. The village elder is still on the ground, so it's hard to hit from afar.
Yeah. I'm just not sure who is the bad guy here. The great big wolf or...
That was the plan. Sorry. No one checked the girl.
I mean, Arno is clearly going to always help the attractive woman. Like, come on, let's.
Just a clarification, Todor. Who shot the fireball? Was that the village elder, or was that
It was the
someone
village
else?
elder, yeah. And
Okay,
he shot like everyone around him. He was obviously aiming for the big silver wolf, but
And you said we're still a ways from him, me and Bartolom?
yes, there's like a row of people before you. If you want to get there in one movement, you have to give me a strong check. Otherwise, you have to use both your movement action and your action to get there. Otherwise, there's like people before you, and they'll probably give you some disadvantage for ranged.
What I want to do, and then you can tell me if I can do it and how to do it, is what I want to do is I have that unnoticeable also. So I want to try to use that to stay hidden from this village elder as I move closer towards him.
Not a problem. One thing on the side is the moving closer. Do you want to push your way through as quickly as possible, or do you want to, slowly move through the
I
people?
would think Scarno would be. He's always quiet, so he would move just quietly as he breezes, try to breeze through. He's not going to do the force like Arno would.
All right. So for one movement, you can get to the front of the village people, but not yet to the altar. The altar will be like something like 3-4 yards away from that area.
All right.
And with your unnoticeable, that was a resolute against resolute, right?
Correct. And I got a resolute of 17.
And that is at -5. This guy is
That'd be 12. Okay.
Resolute type.
I made it 7 out of 12 then.
Perfect. So yeah, he won't be targeting you soon.
All right. And that's all I want to do.
You still have your action though.
How far am I from him? I mean, is he like
3 yards, something like 3.5 yards.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to be that close. I wanted to be like maybe 10 feet away, 15.
Oh, if you want to, then you can have moved to the side, and then you can be like, yeah, maybe 8-9 feet. Sorry, not feet, yards away.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to slip around that map case that everybody thinks is a map case or scroll cases. I uncork one of the caps off of it as I start to prepare some of my storm arrows, but I'm not going to actually use them this round. I'm just preparing them to see what my target is next time.
All right. And what about you, Tom?
Well, seeing everything that happens, I'm inclined to think that they wanted to harm the wolf creature woman thing. So, and also seeing that the village elder did a brimstone cascade, I'm going to give him a cookie of the same dough. I'm going to get closer first. And then use my brimstone cascade, which I have at the the second level. So it's like a chain reaction.
So at the altar, there's like 2 targets only: the wolf and the priest.
So I'm going for the priest. Oh, no other target.
No other target at the altar yet. The next target from the altar would obviously be the tough guys that were escorting you, but they're still like 3.5 yards away from the altar. If you want to cascade back, and that means that there is a chance that you can actually hit the other of the villagers and maybe yourself if you're standing there at the front line. So these guys will be around you.
So yeah, no, I'll just I'll hit the village priest alone then.
All right. What is it? Resolute against resolute, or
no, quick? Resolute against quick.
Oh, then you have a bonus of 2.
Okay, 17. I got a 5, so that's awesome.
All right, give me the damage.
1d12. 6 only. No, 9, sorry.
9. I'm going to check a few things. All right, this guy is burnt, obviously. This guy feels pain. from the fire, but also you feel that through this pain and his shouting, he gets kind of a what's the word, fervor, like, you know, when you're getting closer to your gut and you are feeling like, you know, feverish and, you know, able to do more. What was the word? Fuck, damn it.
Oh, that's right. Fervor
Fervor,
Yeah, something like that. Like he goes nuts about that. I mean, if he were a barbarian, he would, you know, get into a rage or something. But it's more like a religious thing. This, of course, is a big wound on him, though. So he's down. Ambika, help me up here. If we get his pain threshold with a spell, though.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, normally the way that I would rule this is that you can't make a free attack against someone if you don't have something to attack them with. So, I mean, he's out of the range. You can't make free attacks with active abilities unless you have maybe Opportunist Master or something like that.
And he's already down.
Yeah, okay. If he's prone, I usually just choose the knocking the prone option. But if he's already prone, I don't know.
Maybe he drops his stuff. Yeah, he drops his stuff. You see him dropping his stuff from his burned hands. Cool. And we are back to top of the initiative. I don't feel like doing this every round. Do you? I know there are some old games that do that, and some of you play those games. How much do you like that shit? Like doing initiative each round?
Whatever you want. Fine.
Yeah, whatever you
but-
tell me, that's fine by me.
But I'm asking you about
I
how
don't-
do you like those things?
Oh, well, I don't know how the rules are for this game, so whatever you tell me.
This is a thing I'm trying. This is not like the actual rules. The actual rules have a static initiative, which I dread. Like I hate this shit.
Huh.
So yeah. Do you
Sometimes
guys
it can
enjoy?
be interesting, but right now I think we're just going to stick to the initiative we used in the first round, probably.
All right, so that's what you're going for. How do the others feel?
I'm
Two
fine with
slots.
where we are.
All right. So, all right, 2 slots before, 2 slots afterwards. If you want to, you can change your order. You can go with the spellcasters first. It's totally up to you. Like you can go in different order this time. Of course, you can go.
Scorno's still holding his deal. He's watching the whole field of vision to see what happens. So yeah, he's going to hold his for right now.
Yeah. Arno's closest, so I think he should just finish him off and
All right. Again, I'm not sure I want to kill this guy. So, but I will go ahead and I kind of like throw my cloak aside and reach back and draw my fencing sword. And then I try to take the hilt of the fencing sword and smash it into his head. Maybe I can try to knock him out instead of killing him or something like that. And then I'll hit him with the butt of the dagger too. Or if I'm able to do my twin attack while trying to do non-lethal damage, it's up to you.
Oh. You can give me an attack with advantage and
an attack from advantage, so +2, and then an extra.
And then a -1 for his defense, and yeah, if you declare your non-lethal damage, then why not? You just want to take him out.
Okay.
But the damage with the blunt part of your sword will not be a D8. It will probably be a D4.
That's fine. That's fine. So that's all right. That's a success by like 2 points, and then 4 damage.
All right, you hit him at the side of the head, but it's still not enough to knock him out.
Okay. Can I take my second attack or not?
Did you have your parry dagger already in your hand?
Yes, I had my parry dagger in my hand before, and now I have my fencing sword. All right, so I'm gonna slam him again. Oh, that's a 2. And that time it was only 2 damage.
All right, so yeah, you're not enough to knock him out.
Okay.
Definitely. He's still bloodied, like, you know, there's like still burning flesh, and he's like screaming like the early Christians. They used to burn the stake, and they were like shouting in the God's name.
And
or
I yell,
whatsoever.
Abenar, grab his staff.
From where? Or his. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right next to him and next to you as well.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I grab it.
You grab his stuff or you move into action, and you want to try to knock this guy out.
Oh, hell yeah, please.
All right, go ahead. Attack it.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, 3. That's
Plus
fine.
1. Attack it plus 1.
Yep. Still.
All right, the stuff was a D6 unless you have some staff abilities, which
No.
I don't know.
3.
That sounds really weird, totally.
But it is a long weapon. Does she get the free attack for the first time she engages?
Isn't it you get a free attack for the first time you are getting engaged in the beginning of combat?
Time that you, I can check.
Because I
or
think
not.
this is what it means. Like if they try to get to you in the first round, you
Mm.
you know get to hit them first. And I think it's only for the first round.
Okay.
But
I can check it
Yeah.
now while you're continuing if you want, but otherwise we can just leave it. But
if it's not, but it doesn't really matter because she knocked him out.
yeah, of course.
All right, you knock the guy out,
Look up for myself later.
and you can see his hands that were reaching for the sky, and he was screaming, and they just die out. Obviously, this is a blunt weapon, so you can choose either to crush his skull or just leave him unconscious. It's totally up to you. Which one would you choose? Abenara. Crush his skull or leave him unconscious?
Shit.
All
Crush the skull.
No.
Yeah. What? You saw what he did.
Yeah, I mean, Arno would probably agree, even though he's been trying not to kill him. Being
All
a
right.
bit of a wimp.
All right. So the moment you crush his skull, you see that there's this black licorice thing that comes out of the skull and goes into the ground. The moment this wolf sees that, it grabs this guy through the waist with its huge jaws and looks towards you, Arno. He says thank you and sends you an image for a pond, like a pond into the woods, and then it dashes away with the body of this guy. But this black licorice thing still, just pours out of his skull and leaves a trail.
Where's it going?
Well, into the woods.
Okay.
Meanwhile, it's still, those bodyguards of the guy you just smashed the skull of are furious. They are going for Abenara and Arno.
All right.
2 each. They go over there. They have their stuffs. There's like the shepherd stuffs, and they try to hit you with.
Mm-hmm.
And so both of you can give me defenses. One is at -2, and the other one is at -4.
I made it.
Which is which?
You made both?
Is it 2 each? No, which
2
is it?
each, yes. 2 each,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
both of you. One is at -2, the other one is at -4.
7.
Still.
And even with a 15, that's still gonna make it. Yep.
All right, so these guys wildly try to, knock you out with their stuffs. These stuffs have this thing at the very end that is really painful to hit you with, but seems like they are very frustrated about what's happening. Frustrated is a weak word. They're furious, but they really cannot hit you. They're just shepherds. Poor people. You just destroyed their fate, their village. So yeah, this is the situation at the moment. These four guys are attacking Arno and Abenara at the altar. 2 more initiative slots.
Oh, okay.
They won't stop. They want revenge for their fallen village elder.
Well, if I can get a little closer and then zap them again.
Sure. This time you're already at the front, so not an issue.
So how much is their quickness?
Their quick is so you get a -2.
-2.
Yep.
6. So that's a success on the first one. First one gets 3 wounds.
Okay.
And then I go on to the next one, which is also a success. That one gets 8 wounds. Any others?
There's 4 of them. I don't know how many people you can jump.
It doesn't end unless I make a failed roll.
All right. You can go ahead.
Let me check that I have the right dice. 12, that's still a success. 4 wounds, and then the last one, 19. The last one is saved.
All right. So 2 of them get zapped by a little bit, but the third one, the one you zapped for 8 damage, was it 6, 8? Well, he kind of twitches like in a very bad action movie. He's hit by electricity and falls on the floor, keeps twitching in the mud.
Okay. That's good.
It's awesome. Tony?
Yeah, you would have seen Skarno retrieve 5 arrows out of his case, and it appears like he stabbed them into the ground, but if you got close enough, you would see they're hovering above the ground, maybe an inch or 2. But he sees the 4 guards, or whatever you want to call them, approach his 2 companions and attack them. So he swiftly moves his hand as 3 of these arrows come up, and the 3 that are still standing automatically hits with these storm arrows. So I'm going to shoot 1 at each. I can use 3 arrows since I upgraded to master in it. 1 takes 5 damage, 1 will take max 8 damage, and 1 will take 1 point of damage.
All right, so one of them falls on the ground. The arrow probably hits him in the back of his torso, and it's really painful. So he can't stand the pain and just drops. And the other 2 are hurt. There's these. They are actual physical arrows, right?
Yep, correct.
So they're sticking from the backs. They seem hurt, but still not really. Still have the will to fight. Let's see for how long, though. Back over to the top of the initiative, and you have 2 slots for 2 more guys.
Okay. Then I sort of lunge forward at one of them. They've all been hurt in some way or another, right?
2 are on the ground, very hurt, and the other 2 are slightly hurt, more or less.
All right. Well, because I like to fight dirty, I'll go for the ones that are on the ground. And I assume I have advantage.
Yeah.
So all right. What's their defense?
Their defense, is it the same as they are on the ground? It should be.
I think it's the same. It's just I
So
get
it's -2.
Yeah.
So basically.
Right. So it cancels itself out. So.
Yep.
Right. Oh, that's a 1. And a 14, which I think, that would.
Let's say the 1 just neutralizes the guy. If you want him to suffer a grisly death, you can, or if you want to, you can knock him out.
Yeah. At this point, I mean, Arno is surrounded by enemies, and when he gets cornered, he goes from someone who's, relatively shaken by violence to someone who's got no scruples about it. So he just stabs his rapier down into the man's eye and then pulls it back out.
With the eye still on it.
Steps back, holding his weapons. You still want to fight? You still want more of this? We have no business. We have no quarrel with you. You're gonna die for your leader?
Oh, this guy's obviously dead. Why are you shouting at him?
I'm not shouting at him. I'm shouting at the others.
Okay. Sorry. Is the eye still on the rapier, though?
Yeah.
Oh, I stick it in and probably, yeah.
Do you lick it for,
Not.
emphasis?
Why would I do that? That's
What?
nasty.
I don't know.
Ew. Do you routinely lick eyeballs?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you see an eyeball. Anyway, with the second attack, do you finish the guy or do you want to attack the other guy?
I cannot. With twin attack, I can only attack the same target.
Oh.
So I just mercifully slit his throat, I guess.
Because, yeah. All right. Yeah, the guy is losing his resolve, obviously, but he's still slower than one more initiative slot if you want to be, if you want to finish him off. All up to you.
I mean, our knight in no armor is as a,
I don't know how benevolent or what's the opposite is she?
malevolent.
Malevolent.
Benevolent, thank you. I was gonna say sadist. I was looking for sadist.
That's
Sadistic?
not the same.
It's somewhat a little different, but whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, my turn's over, so.
so yeah, we're waiting for you, knight without armor.
Yeah,
You
I'm
show
checking
mercy
my
or
sheet.
not?
I want to do something interesting, but I just can't. I guess I just
You-
finish it, right?
You can always try,
Yeah, but no, I wanted to use something interesting from my abilities, But yeah.
Forget the abilities. I mean, according to your attributes and your character and blah blah blah. If you want to, do something, you can always try.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
But you're just a mean killing machine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alright.
Yeah. Glory for the House of Thane. Oh god. 17. Yeah, no. That's terrible.
Yeah, use those dice for other games.
If I'm throwing away every second die. That's not good.
Well, this guy is, like I said, losing his resolve, and he'd just been missed by the knight. So, wow, he tries to escape. If you want to get a free attack on him and this way finish him off, Avenara.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're muted. Did you manage to finish him
Oh,
off?
for fuck's sake.
-2? Still?
No, I rolled a 19 again and I was talking to you while muting myself. That makes sense. Yeah, no. Doesn't work. I still own it.
And with that, the combat scene is over. Ambika, thank you. Each turn? Seriously?
I think basically that each turn is a limit. It's not like you can. You can only really use that if a new melee. If you're engaging with or being engaged by a new melee attacker every turn, right? So you can't use it again on the same person that you're already fighting. It's just every time you enter into combat with a new opponent in melee.
Okay, I'm gonna change my future characters with only using that type of weapon because it's awesome.
It's pretty badass. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Come on, see it out. You're just standing there. some of you at the altar, some of you a bit to the side of the crowd. You just laid their village elder, whose body is not to be found because a huge silvery wolf just took it out to the woods. And there's this crowd of roughly 23 people who are standing there in disbelief. This thing probably happens for the first time in their lives. Not probably, definitely. They have no fucking idea what to do, and their eyes are turned at you. None of them is carrying any obvious weapons, but these guys that you just beat the shit out of as well. They're wearing their standard, dresses and coats in this weather, and they're standing there and looking at each other, and quite literally they're in shock.
I wave my hands and say, go home before I fried a lot of you.
Nice. Well, seeing you in action, they are bound to believe that you can just fry them off. And little by little, you see first the back lines and then a little bit to the front lines. The front lines I'm trying to, stay. But you see half of the people are leaving already. You don't know what they're thinking. They may be, going back to take their weapons or something. But they are leaving, definitely.
Then I leave them in peace for now.
For these very few minutes, you know that there may be peace for the next few minutes, definitely.
I'm sort of, staring off after the wolf woman. Come, she gave me a vision. The lake. We need to get there. We need to help her.
I'll raise my staff a little bit. Well, let's get it over with then.
Wait, I left your weapons and armor with that big lout. Have you seen him anywhere?
Yeah, he's just standing in the crowd there, and like he's looking at you like a little child.
I wave my eyeball in his direction.
Imagine he's
my friend. Can you
imagine he's wearing like the shoulder pads and part of this armor. He's already wearing it, but he's carrying the rest of it. Yeah, I mentioned that before. He's putting like the shoulder pads on him, trying to look like a knight himself. He's very gullible.
The ritual's over, Ivan. We can have the iron back, can't we?
He's like, but
not but.
But what?
I try to grab the shoulders.
Yeah. He throws everything that he's carrying at your feet, and then he starts. He hasn't even strapped anything. He just put them on, and he's like taking them out, and he's just standing there. He's like a big guy. He's wearing obviously less clothes than anyone else because he has a lot of body mass and fat, and he's like, "But what do we do now? What happens now?"
I lay my hand on his shoulder. You see that? You saw that wolf, didn't you?
That big, beautiful creature? Yes, I saw it.
Needs our help. You could be a hero if you come with us.
But why would such a big, beautiful wolf need help?
Oh, perhaps she wants us to prove ourselves to her so that we can be heroes, real heroes.
Yeah, you see his dumbfounded look is like, he doesn't know what you're talking about. Prove themselves. This is like just a concept that's too much for him.
Well, we'll go and prove ourselves then.
I pat him on the shoulder. Just stay here then.
But who is going to lead our people?
You.
He's like looking at you, even with his, intelligence equal to maybe the most, the smartest goat of the village. He's like, no, come on. My younger brothers tried to pull that on me once. Told me I'm the village leader last year. They all laughed at me afterwards. No, But what happened? Tell me.
Listen, friend, we've got to be on our way very quickly. I'll leave it for you to figure out. I'm sure you can find someone who's smart enough to command this lot of rabble. We need to go.
I'm almost on my way into the right direction,
You want me to
carrying
start off?
everything and trying to get my armor on with one
I will
hand.
help.
Good.
Arno's very happy to help.
Yeah, she doesn't mind right now. She'll think about it later, though.
We'll come back after we solve this quest and help you out. Choose a new village leader and whatever. We'll be back. Don't worry.
Can I come?
I look around at the others. I mean, if you
Yeah,
insist,
sure.
sure. Why
The
not?
more the better.
I want to save our leader. I want to bring him back.
Unless you're a necromancer, that's not going to work.
Well, at least I can get him back and burn him like a proper human. The body, I mean, of course.
Yeah, in pieces.
Good Lord, man, do you ever stop chattering? Let's go.
Okay, but where are we going?
You'll see when we get there.
Just out of character, you also don't know where you're going.
I sort of close my eyes and try to see this lake that she talked about, and I look over at him. Is there a lake around here?
Yes, there are many lakes around here.
Oh, Lord. I try to describe it to him more carefully from what I can remember.
He thinks about it, he scratches his wonderful mustache, and he's like, I don't know what that lake is exactly, but maybe we can follow this. And he points towards the black goo that was there.
I shake my head. Well,
I also have beast lore, so I think I could track it. The wolf.
Oh, yeah, especially such a large wolf. You probably leave the same tracks a wolf would have, but larger, obviously. All right, cool. You have the advantage of some things dripping from the thing you're tracking, so there's advantage is a +2. And this wolf was definitely not trying to hide, so.
Okay, so that's a success.
Awesome. So you don't waste any time and you get on your track very quickly. And you realize that you're following the wolf very closely, although it's obviously running because there's a lot of broken branches and the feet in the mud, the steps in the mud are quite deep, so it's obviously running. But in about maybe 2 hours, you come to a clearing, and that clearing is the wonderful lake. Like in the midst of winter, this thing has like water lilies, it has like blooming flowers, it has 5 semi-naked women washing in it. There is, of course, a rock like on the very on the very bank of it. On this rock, there is a body, the body of the village elder, and still oozing some licorice thing. Yeah, it is in our folklore tales. And this thing is like going into the lake, this goo, and the moment it touches the lake, it just disappears and turns into a flickering, rainbowing, flickering. Damn it! Yeah, turns into a rainbow.
Okay.
It's like cleansing
rainbow.
as it comes into that. That's what's going on in front of you. What do you want to do?
I turn to our wise men. What do you make of this?
A wise man can give me a cunning.
Okay. That's success.
Awesome. All right. So, having now already seen stuff that's been going on, you do realize that those creatures in front of you are obviously spirits of some sorts. We around here call them Samudivas. Samudivi, yes. They are quite weird creatures because they are neither good nor bad, but they are closely related. If you want to imagine them, they're closely related to the naiads from Greek and Persian folklore. They're connected to water, just like the naiads, and every day they have to go to this either lake or a pond or a river, and they have to wash. And the moment they wash there, they leave their clothes on the bank most of the time, but only at dusk. And this is when capturing a Samudiva happens, usually by snatching her veil, which holds all her power. So obviously these are those kind of spirits. So probably this one was kind of captured by someone from the village, and this is how she escaped. The guy though on the lake that is oozing this black goo, and who was the village elder and who is tainted, you really don't know what he was and what his deal was. Was it really just a standard human sacrifice that he was trying? Did he really know that this is a naiad? A Samudiva? That kind of thing still remains a little bit of mystery. But as far as you know, these creatures from you should be good, at least as long as you don't anger them.
Okay.
All right.
How about rewards then?
I may have missed this, but do we see the wolves, or do we only see spirits and the black stuff in the water?
No, you only see the girls.
Okay.
No wolves.
And I step forward. And I say to them, "I've seen the wolf, the woman in white."
As they turn to you, one of these gals is the gal that was about to be sacrificed and turned into a wolf. She's like, "Hello. You're the one who saved me, right?"
Yeah. That would be us, I guess.
Well, come with us. Play with us in the water.
I can't hear anything right now.
Oh, sorry. They said, "Come with us. Play with us in the water."
Sounds good to me. You know what? If I may, I would make a resolute check with his paltry resolute just to see whether he does indeed manage to resist the urge to go into the water.
Oh, they're currently not using magic on you, but if you want to do so yourself, go ahead. They are genuinely asking you to join them.
Someone saying something, because I am not.
Oh, sorry. Does anyone else hear me?
Lag here.
Yeah, I hear you
I
fine.
hear you.
She's freezing up, it looks like, on my end.
Okay.
I hear you, but you were
You guys
freezing
seem
up
laggy to me.
just
I'm going to turn my video off. Maybe that'll help.
I'm gonna refresh my page as well. See if that helps.
All right. Well, if we're rolling for this, then I got a one check. Oops. Uh-oh. Toto just left.
It's refreshing. He'll be back.
Yeah. Hello?
Damn it, I just, refreshed my page. I totally forgot I was recording this, and this kind of terminated the session. I don't know what happened.
Oh, well.
Oh.
it was a an instinct to just refresh the page.
It says it's live still, so maybe.
Cool.
All right.
Then cool.
Anyhow, so I just wrote. I was asking you. Well,
I was just saying that
by the
they
way-
are not using magic specifically. They are just
And so I feel
genuinely asking you to join them into the pond.
Yeah, Arno would be quite tempted, but I rolled just to get an idea of how tempted he was, and I got a 1 on my resolute check. So restraint. he kind of, I mean, you could see him like physically moving towards the water for a second, and he has like this wistful, longing look in his eyes, and he shakes his head. I'm sorry, I would love nothing more, but I'm afraid we have other things to take care of. Maybe later.
What about the others, though? Anyone want to join in the bathing fun?
Nope.
Seems warm. And
No, Arno stays 20, 30 foot behind everyone.
they turn to each other, and you can hear some giggling, and the blonde one in the middle says, "I told you they were smart." And they turn around and say, "Okay, you helped me, and you found me. So now the only thing, of course, I can do is to repay you, my blonde friend, and of course your companions over there." She's still looking like right at you, and she's thinking that you are the brave guy who did it. So what can you ask of me so that I can repay my debt and I'm no longer in debt to you?
He thinks about it for a second, and you can almost see the the gold taller dancing in his eyes, and he looks over these women, and you see a few more ideas cross his head, and then he kind of draws a long, deep sigh, and he says, "Well, I have a daughter. I just want to make sure she's being taken care of. Just want to make sure that she's safe."
They turn around. They seem puzzled. Rarely, obviously, a mortal asks such a thing of them. Usually go for treasure, stuff like that. Once again, they sigh, and yeah, maybe too smart. Well, I'll see what I can do. Me and my sisters will probably be able to help your daughter if you point us into the right direction.
And then his eyes brighten up a little bit, and he says, there is one thing.
What thing? I thought your daughter was one thing. You mean another thing?
Well, we each have a thing.
Are
His
you
hands are
each have
trembling.
a thing?
This is why. This is why I can't trust myself. Can you take it away? This need to be numb. Can you take it away from me?
So wait a second, my beautiful blonde hero. Do you want me to take care of your daughter, or do you want me to take care of your bad habit? Do-do-do-dum.
Oh shit! It's all.
So what, is the connection again fucking up?
Now it sounds okay. Now it's okay.
Oh, okay. So basically, she asked you, do you want to help for them to help your daughter or to help you?
No, I can't.
Okay. Fuck. What about the rest of you? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
on my
we
end.
can.
Ambika, I believe it's you. And she's up. Oh. All right. Till she comes back. Quick reminder. You're actually on a quest to find a giant sword somewhere in this forest. Are your characters just gonna leave Arno there, you know, doing what he's doing? Or you
Hello?
wanna intervene? Hello.
Hello. Do you hear us now?
Is it just me that you have problems hearing, or is it everyone? All right.
Huh.
Apparently everyone. It's a shame. So until she manages to come back with us on the hangout, what are your characters, you know? They probably remember the quest. They are not like this guy, womanizer.
Yeah, we should go on. I don't think it's healthy to stay here too long.
Yes, I agree. We do not need to disrupt the balance between this type of nature in our world.
I completely agree. I look totally disturbed, by the way.
And Arnold's problem probably can be solved very easily if they take away his dream snuff problem. Then he can take better care of his daughter, which solves both at once.
But what the Samodiva actually wants to make sure that you understand is she can only help you with one thing, not one thing each, but just one thing, one wish that she can fulfill. So she's asking you for affirmation. Is that going to be helping your friends have it, or anything else, or riches beyond your dreams?
I'd say the habit.
Yeah, but there's nothing Scarno would ask for. He would just want to reassure them to keep the balance between their nature and the world that we live in. So there's nothing he would want.
All right. She'll approach your friend. She'll actually come out of the water and walk on the lilies. From lily to lily, she'll be tiptoeing and jumping until she reaches Arno and grabs him by the back of his head and just kiss him on the forehead. And you'll see all his dark corners of his eyes and dark rings just disappear, and taking away the poison that's been in him for so long will just make him body go into a shock, and he'll just drop, and you hear him happily snoring. He'll finally have some normal sleep and normal dreams.
Okay.
But her connection is out. Definitely.
Just
Fuck.
a sec.
All right. So let's take a quick break from the game.
did you want to go on for much longer? Because I'm
I'm trying to see if it's a little bit better on here, maybe.
I was thinking the same thing. If perhaps you didn't hate it that much, we can finish it some other time.
Sure.
that would be perfect for me.
And now I'm going to ask you for some honest feedback because I haven't done this in a while. How do you think it was?
Oh, it was really, really good. It was excellent. I had a great time, and I don't think you had anything to be nervous about
No,
at all because
absolutely not.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, but you usually like my shit, so.
Yeah, but
What about
it was
more
good.
technical things like pacing, like descriptions, like that kind of shit?
God damn
You're
it.
like 10 times
I
better
can't
than
hear
I
you.
am, so I'm
Oh, I can't hear
totally
anything.
glad with that.
Come on.
I have no idea where we're going. So the reason I asked for, are you planning on continuing long? Is because I have no idea where we are at this point in your planning.
You see, that's one of the things I really fuck up, I think, in my games because I expect you from a viewpoint of your characters to try to figure out where this whole thing is going. But no one really tries to, speak to NPCs and, try to find out more about the goal. Like, for example, this Samodiva here could have taken you to the place that you're looking for. But instead she cured his addiction. But I'm trying to conceal those things in my games, and maybe I'm doing this wrong.
Part of the problem there is I just didn't realize, for example, that somehow it didn't register to me that we still need to go somewhere. Like somehow I thought that, I don't know, that this was like the scenario, like this village. And of course it's called the Lost Grove and we're supposed to be going to the damn Lost Grove, but like somehow...
I think I missed the quest part too.
Yeah, I did. That's my fault. I didn't read all of it. I was thinking that this was the ending of it too, so that's my fault.
Yeah, same here.
You see, I always think I leave too much freedom to.
But did you put that exactly in the description? Because I thought I read it all. I must have missed it.
Yeah, you're looking for the lost giant's sword somewhere in a grove, somewhere in the woods. You reach the woods. The village is like the last settlement known before the woods. So your basic quest here was to resupply and continue on to find the thing. But of course, things are happening into the village as well.
Yeah.
Which could have been not, fought, could have been, circumvened, could have intervened, however you like. I think I just leave too much freedom for one shot.
No, but it's not a problem. It was a fine,
No,
it was
yeah.
a perfect encounter.
I think the storyline was great and stuff. I think the system slows it down.
Probably
just make a two-shot out of it.
Somehow in my head, the whole like Lost Grove aspect of it, even though that was kind of the main premise, transformed in my brain into like the MacGuffin that gets us into the village where the real shit goes down, kind of. Which I know is not the intent, but somehow
I have to work on that.
Yeah. Somehow that's where my brain went.
But the things that you encountered, basically, it's a Samodiva. It's like a southeastern Slavic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those creatures. I tried to incorporate as much as I could about them, which I explained with the successful cunning action of the wizard. Mm-hmm. The other things, the people that you found, the Kukiri, it's like a thing that happens, I think, in a lot of places, but it's a pagan tradition that dates back to Neolithic times in Europe and Northern Africa and the Middle East. Basically, it happens at the end of winter, like not at the winter solstice, but usually at the end of winter, at some places at the beginning of February or the end of January and stuff like that, when it's apparent that days are growing longer, so that, they use it for a lot of things, like scare away the evil. Is like, they thought that evil spirits bring illness and stuff and bad luck and stuff like that. So this is, a ritual that happens in many places. They dress like the evil creatures themselves. They try to make themselves look even more horrifying than the evil itself, so that they can scare it away.
Yeah, it's basically Halloween.
Yeah, it's basically the pagan Halloween, but before it was like taken from one side and put into another, and then transformed into a Christian stuff.
I'd love to continue the quest.
Cool. Then we can set a date later on. I know your schedules are busy, but we can think of something.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep. Cool.
Well,
thanks
thanks
a
so
lot
much,
for running.
Yeah.
All right, then. Thank you for being in my weird stuff, and thank you for the feedback.
And sorry, I totally wasted the wish on
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a harder time,
especially because I don't want to get. I don't actually really want to get rid of my addiction, from a player perspective. But I did it, so whatever.
Yeah.
I'll come up with something else fucked up. So
cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Good night.
Anyway, all right. Bye.
Bye.